On a single day in 216 BCE, the Roman Republic looked into the abyss. By sunset, tens of thousands of its soldiers would be dead, its greatest army would cease to exist, and the road to Rome itself would lie open. In just a few hours, senators, nobles, veterans, and farmers would find themselves trapped inside a shrinking ring of steel. Some died fighting, others were crushed so tightly they could barely move. Many never even had room to raise their swords. More than 2,000 years later, military academies still study this battle as one of the greatest tactical masterpieces ever fought. And the man who engineered this disaster was outnumbered almost 2-1. He was not a Roman. His name was Hannibal Barca, and he didn't just want to defeat Rome, he wanted to break it. His story begins with a vow. In 247 BCE, a boy named Hannibal was born in Carthage during the First Punic War. His father was Hannibal Barca, one of Carthage's most respected generals. Ancient writers tell us that when Hannibal was just 9 years old, his father brought him before an altar and made him swear an oath. The boy placed his hand upon a sacrifice and vowed that he would never be a friend to Rome. Whether every detail is true or not, one thing is certain. Hannibal grew up believing that Rome was Carthage's greatest enemy, and from that moment forward, Rome was no longer merely an enemy, it became an obsession. Years later, Hannibal inherited command of Carthage's armies in Spain. He didn't wait for Rome to attack. Instead, he made a decision so reckless that many believed it was madness. He would invade Italy itself. To do it, he would have to cross the Alps, with an army and elephants. The journey became legendary. Snowstorms blinded his men, landslides buried them, mountain tribes attacked from above, men froze where they stood, others vanished beneath avalanches of snow and stone. Some simply disappeared into the mountains and were never seen again. When Hannibal finally descended into Italy, nearly half his army was gone. But the men who remained were no longer ordinary soldiers. They had marched through hell and survived, and they would follow Hannibal anywhere. Rome was stunned. The enemy they expected to fight overseas had suddenly appeared in northern Italy, and worse was still to come. At the Trebia River, Hannibal destroyed a Roman army. At Lake Trasimene, he annihilated another. Thousands were dead. Panic spread across Italy. Yet Rome refused to surrender. Instead, the Republic assembled the largest army in its history, nearly 80,000 infantry and 6,000 cavalry. By the summer of 216 BCE, Rome had reached a simple conclusion. Hannibal had to die. Not next year, not eventually, now. Their mission was simple: find Hannibal, destroy him. The two armies met near a small village in southern Italy, Cannae, a place that would become synonymous with annihilation. What happened there would change military history forever. On paper, the outcome should have been obvious. Rome had assembled nearly 80,000 infantry and 6,000 cavalry. Hannibal commanded roughly 40,000 infantry and 10,000 cavalry. The Romans outnumbered him almost 2-1. Most commanders would have looked across that battlefield and seen defeat. Hannibal saw opportunity. He had chosen this battlefield with ruthless calculation. The Romans believed victory was inevitable. After all, they had assembled the largest army in the history of the Republic, an army large enough to crush Carthage once and for all. What they didn't realize was that every step they were about to take would carry them deeper into one of the greatest traps ever devised. By sunset, Rome's greatest army would cease to exist, and Hannibal Barca would make history. The Romans believed they were marching toward victory. In reality, they were marching toward annihilation. Follow the channel for part 2. The Slaughter at Cannae.